See, you've been fed this narrative about balance, work-life balance, balance in your life, being zen, doing this, doing that. It's all nonsense. All of it is complete nonsense. I remember I always used to subscribe to this, like, oh, I need balance. I need to make sure that I'm sleeping well. I may have this very ambitious goal, but I'm just going to start. I just need to focus on sleep. So I need to sleep at 9 o'clock. When that goal still needed my time, needed me to be awake to get it done. That's why a lot of men right now, they're suffering because they're trying to find balance in their life. When in reality, what you should be doing is you should be finding a goal, being obsessed with going forth with that goal and doing everything that you possibly can to achieve the goal. The truth about life is that there is no balance. There's none, right? The only thing that you have is your obsession, your effort, and a full drive to get goals done. That's why life revolves around seasons. Everyone talks about seasons in life for a reason. So it's counterintuitive when the same people who talk about seasons talk about balance. You achieve balance through getting massively successful and reaching every single goal that you have to hit in sequential order. That's how it works. And you just stack wins. That's how life works. You may have a season where you want to get in shape. You want to get jacked. That is a season. You will dedicate your season to doing that. You'll have a season where you want to make as much money as humanly possible. You will dedicate a season to that. That's what most people don't understand. Most people think I can just put all of these goals, and I'm a victim of this too, put all of these goals, these lump sum goals in one thing and assume that I'm going to be able to do everything and keep everything balanced and well-rounded. As a man, you need the edge. You need an edge. You don't need well-roundedness. That's not the goal. You will achieve well-roundedness at the very end of the stage of you stacking every single one of your goals up and finally getting to a point where you've achieved everything and now you're this well-balanced guy. So when you're looking at all these guys who've already made it and they're telling you about balance, they're telling you to have a life where it's zen and you're just sitting here, that's what's going to cause depression. That's why a lot of men are depressed, because all they do is they seek balance, so they don't hyper focus on these goals. They don't achieve these goals. They fall short, and then they get depressed because they're not achieving anything monumental. They're just staying in mediocrity. Balance is what causes mediocrity at early stages of growth. If you're a man right now and you have lofty visions, I urge you, literally write them out in sequential order. Don't just write out all of your goals and say everything that you need to do, because I've done this before. Say everything that you need to do and literally allocate little pieces of time throughout the day to do it. Find one big goal, attack that big goal. And what happens is, as you're attacking that big goal, all of the other things that you want to do will come into place. Every single thing that you want to do will come into place. That's how it works, because it's all about stacking. A lot of you are horizontally integrating. You're horizontally going after different things that aren't really related to each other. You're stretching yourself extremely thin for no reason when you should be stretching yourself thin on the one big goal that you have. That's all it takes. That's literally all it takes for you to succeed, is to be obsessed over one goal. But you know the reason why you're not obsessed? You know the reason why a lot of guys cope with balance? Because they're afraid to go all in on one goal. You might be afraid that, man, if I go all in on this thing, it may not succeed. So how do you hedge your bets? You hedge your bets by doing all kinds of other things. Again, I'm speaking from personal experience. You hedge your bets by doing a bunch of different things, by trying to achieve a bunch of little micro goals, when in reality, you should have went all in on that one goal. Because the minute you go all in on that one goal, everything else will start to open up. For example, you have a goal of being extremely fit, of being the best version of yourself physically. You dedicate 3 to 6 months to doing that. You've now given yourself health reserves that now you can go in and go build a business because you've slept enough. You've eaten the right foods. You've trained enough. You have enough muscle mass to sustain to now go into a destructive state, which is business. And yes, your health will decay when you go into business. That's just how it works. I didn't make the rules. But what happens is you have so much of these reserves that then when you translate that into business, You now have a gas tank full of health that you can now start to permeate in other aspects of your life. So now you go from health, then you go to wealth, business, right? You start making money. You start making $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month. I know some of you might think that's a lot, but once you really dedicate yourself to that, you find one skill, you maximize that skill, and you build a business around that skill, then everything else falls into place. You start doing everything you're supposed to do. And once you get done with that, now you have the money, now you have the physique, you have the health. Now you can jump into potentially a relationship, right? But you have everything else moving. Everything has to be on autopilot before you move to the next thing. It's not about trying to get everything on autopilot at once. It takes time. It takes a certain allotment of time that you give yourself to hit that goal. And most men fall short because they don't understand this nuance of life. It is not about being balanced. It is about going all in on one specific goal for one season of your life. You give yourself a certain amount of time to achieve that goal. And you figure out whether or not you achieve that goal. Bet on yourself. The reason why you want to be well-rounded, the reason why you don't want to go all in on something is because you're afraid to bet on yourself. You're afraid to put all your chips in the center. You're afraid you're going to fold. But I'm telling you right now, there is no way that you're going to fold. There's no way that the universe will not reward you if you put in all of the work that you need to put in to achieve that goal. You will know what the inputs need to be. If it's building a business, you will know I need to reach out to 50 people a day, 100 people a day, 200 people a day, 10 people a day if you want to start. And you will do that every single day, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how much sleep you think you need to have, regardless of how much gym time you think you need to have. You're going to achieve that goal. If you want to get in the best shape of your life, you're going to make sure that you're eating the same types of foods every single day. You're going to make sure that you don't go party a lot. That's a season in life, a social season. The social season may come after you've built the business and you've built the body. Now you build the social, right? All of this is seasons. If you start to look at life as seasons, you'll start to achieve more than if you looked at life as this well-rounded, well-balanced state. It's not. Life was not designed for you to be balanced. Life was designed for you to be imbalanced for different seasons of your life. That's what you have to understand. And the thing is, these seasons will they'll call you. They'll call you. You may not even need to plan these seasons. You'll know. You'll get to a point where you're so out of shape, you need to start focusing on that. That's your season. You'll get to a point where you're so broke that you need to start focusing on building a business. That's your season. You'll get to a point where you feel so alone that you need to start socializing. You need to start building a friend circle. You need to go and find the right woman for you. That's a season. You'll dedicate yourself to that season and you'll be able to clear that out. Most people, here's the thing, you have incomplete chapters of your life. Every single season, every single chapter of life, you're literally starting it, you're going halfway, and then you're trying to get to the next season, or you're trying to get to the next chapter. You have to close out the chapter before you transition to the next one. Most people don't do this. Most people, they will literally start a chapter. Imagine if you had a book. Most men are basically books that are unwritten, that they're literally unwritten. Every chapter is just unwritten. You start the chapter with the title. Oh yeah, I'm going to achieve this big goal. You start to write because you start to do it. And you're like, oh, well, chapter 2. No, complete the chapter. Your life is just a series of chapters. It's a book that's a series of chapters. So you have to figure out, okay, for this chapter, what do I need to do to finish and conclude that chapter? Most of you don't ever get to the conclusion of the chapter of your life, which is why you feel so empty because, again, there's no substance, there's no depth, there's nothing. All you're doing is you're bouncing around. Shiny object syndrome. This is good, let me do this. This is exciting, let me do this. I'm victim of this. I do this all the time. This is why I've now reverted back to, Martell, seasons. I had a season of going super hard on YouTube. That season hasn't ended yet, right? I had a season of building a specific business, right? Again, you want to be able to get to the point where you conclude that season or that chapter of your life, because then that chapter will carry over to the next one. And that's how you get somebody who's well-rounded and actually successful. You don't become successful trying a bunch of different things, trying to master every element of your life all in one season. That's unfortunately, I wish life was really like that, but it's not. Life is phases. You got to go through these phases. You'll have a fatherhood phase where now you dedicate all of your energy to building offspring that can literally dominate the world with your genetics. There's a season for that. There's a season for you going and being social and finding friends and building a strong network. There's a season for that. But there's some seasons you cannot do until you've concluded the chapter of previous seasons that you've had, right? You have to understand this. I'm telling you, it's nuanced. A lot of people don't talk about this. A lot of people say you will achieve every single one of your goals in a year's time. No, you'll achieve one goal at a time if you do this successfully. And you'll feel fulfilled after you've achieved that goal. Maybe you give yourself 3 to 6 months to get in the best shape of your life. Cool. Now that you've dedicated that, boom, now you're good. Now you don't have to think too hard. You know everything you need to do. You know what that routine is. It takes time to establish routine and habits. So it doesn't make sense to be jumping around and just intertwining habits together. Go all in on something. A lot of people may say that's unhealthy. I think that's the healthiest thing a man can do. Because what that does is it gives you the opportunity to see if you're really built for that season of your life. You will never know your full potential unless you go all in on something for a long period of time. And do not waver. And the thing is, most people quit during these seasons. They put an end to the maybe halfway through the season because there was a conflict, right? There was a climax position. There was something that happened that made you believe that you weren't the person to actually get that thing done, and you go backwards. And then you try to rewrite the chapter, or you try to create a new chapter, trying to basically bring yourself back, trying to basically convince yourself that you're this guy. No, we all have to start from chapter 1. We all have to build, then to go to chapter 2, then to go to chapter 3. When did you ever see a book start with chapter 1, have a few sentences, with zero conclusion, go to chapter 2, have a few sentences, zero conclusion, chapter 3, you wouldn't read the book. You wouldn't read the book. If you can't read the book of your life right now, if it pains you to look at all of the chapters that you've put in place and you see that it's not coherent, you need to change. And you need to change now. All right? So I hope you internalize this. I hope you understand this, because if you can really dive deep into this and really make this like a pillar of your life, a tenet of your life, you will succeed beyond measures, especially if you're young, right? I'm now at a point where I'm at a season where I'm helping other people in their health seasons. So if that's something you're interested in, if you want to get in shape, if you want to finally build a high status physique that will carry you through other aspects of your life, if you're in that season, if you're not, you're not. But if you are in that season, tap in with me. The link will be in the description. We'll be able to talk through different things that you're going through when it comes to your physique, when it comes to your mentality, because it's mindset and it's fitness at the same time, to permeate other aspects of your life, to jumpstart your life, and we'll get things rocking. All right? Link is in the description. I appreciate you, and I'll catch you on the next video.